WERU-FM 89.9 Blue Hill, and on the web at weru.org, presenting diverse music and alternative public affairs.
The WERU Soapbox is made possible in part by U.S. Bells and Prospect Harbor, offering cast bronze wind bells, doorbells, and custom hardware, supporting free and open discussion of the issues that affect our community. 963-7184 or usbells.com.
It's 9 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock, and it's time for the WERU Soapbox with Dennis Howard.
Thank you, Mr. John Greenman, engineering today's Soapbox. Yes, my name is Dennis. It is my honor and privilege to get to sit in this chair once a month during WERU's Soapbox, but not really talk. That's your job. You get to turn your phone into a microphone during the next hour. If there's something you'd like to share with our listeners, this is your chance. 1-866-625-WERU or 469-0500. The program can go in a number of directions based on who is calling, the issues of the day, or just the general mindset of the community. We already have some calls coming in. We'll get to those momentarily here. I do want to remind everybody, as always, to be very courteous, and this is not a show where we openly criticize other people. Just share your thoughts with us. Good morning. Welcome to the Soapbox. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, Dennis. It's Gray.
Well, hey, Gray. Good morning to you.
Thanks. Thanks for this show. I'd like to talk about the events in Ferguson, Missouri, in terms of the focus of the aftermath, which I've listened pretty closely to the press. I haven't heard everything, but it seems to me that all of the focus has been on the racism aspects of the killing and there and in other places. And to be sure, that's a huge problem, and it should not happen. But I wonder myself why the police can kill unarmed civilians at all, regardless of their race. And when I look around for the cause, I see that, to be fair to the police, of whom there are many good ones out there, you can't ask them to go into a community that has potential violence and not be able to defend themselves. And they're allowed to use the excuse of fear for their lives to kill people because there's so many guns out there. So I don't think that we're going to really deal with this problem until we deal with the Second Amendment, which is the 800-pound gorilla that nobody's talking about in the press or on ERU or anything, as far as I can tell. Now, maybe I've missed a whole bunch of stuff, but I really don't think so. And I wonder if any other listeners out there would think about using these events as a springboard for doing something about the way the Second Amendment has been interpreted and is enforced. It's not acceptable that there's so many guns. We talk about the police being militarized. Our whole society is militarized. There are states where you can carry a weapon openly everywhere, schools, whatever. This is unacceptable. It's some kind of bizarre fantasy that people are being allowed to live, and the collateral damage from this fantasy, from the Second Amendment, is Michael Brown and the other people. There was a Native American guy in the Northwest who was a carver who had a crooked knife in his hand, and a rookie cop shot him from across the street. This is not okay. And I think we have to do something about guns in our society before we can ask the police to back off from killing unarmed citizens. The racism is a separate problem. We have to deal with that as well. But really, the root of all of this is guns in our society, and we have to face up to it. Thanks for the show.
Thank you so much.
I just want to recommend, if other people want to talk about events, Wednesday evening radio show that Amy does is now experimenting with taking calls. So all of you regulars out there should listen at 4:30 on Wednesdays. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Gray.
Bye.
We have another caller live on the Soapbox. Give us your name and where you're calling from, and maybe turn down the radio. I think we're getting a feedback loop.
Good
Hello?
morning.
Good morning.
This is Reverend Dr. C. Sarian, voice of the Mid-Coast Sub-Church of Paranoia, with a special paranoid report. The Eric Garner murder is one more example of America's perpetual racism. Across the country, citizens are protesting brutal treatment of black people by police. But it's all a strange game. It's a little insane. Instead of rioting, blacks should remain calm and accept the fact they are second-class citizens. After all, black Africans were brought to this country specifically to create an underclass of cheap labor. But before the first African was marched ashore in Charleston, Aboriginal Americans were being hunted like animals, and today still do not enjoy full citizenship. Then there are the Latinos, whose status is predetermined by the ratio of Amerindian genes to European. Asians were imported from the Far East to build America's infrastructure for the benefit of corporate capital. Celestials have been treated like dogs to the present day. Oh, how about women? In only a few tiny isolated pockets of vestigial matrist culture do women enjoy equal status. Around the world, under both sectarian and secular regimes, women have fewer rights, less pay, fewer opportunities, and less freedom than men do. Women comprise something more than half the population, and combined with Indians, blacks, Latinos, and Asians, constitute a vast majority of people. This majority swells to even greater proportion when added to millions of homosexuals, preppers, environmentalists, pot smokers, libertarians, whistleblowers, Occupy activists, organic farmers, hard money advocates, back to the land hippies and other poor white trash, veterans against war, critical mass cyclists, labor organizers, autistic child savants, co-op members, barterers, talk show callers, do-it-yourselfers and others practicing voluntary simplicity, or any other oppressed minority group. All counted, almost everyone is a second-class citizen. The only ones who enjoy full first-class citizenship are the fabulously wealthy overlords of the New World Order. They don't have to get stopped and frisked. They don't have to get foreclosed by the banks. They don't have to get groped at airports. They don't have to show proof of citizenship. They don't have to pedal harder every day just to keep up. They don't have to pay the fees, fines, penalties, and interest everyone else does for routine violation of a galaxy of regulations. They don't have to put themselves on the line demonstrating for civil rights. In particular, they don't have to get murdered on the street by vigilantes. It's a 99% thing, though it's more like 99.999%. White America was never a classless society. There has always been an upper class and a lower class. At first, it was landowners and the landless. By and large, Americans accepted their status or moved west. The Industrial Revolution shifted the paradigm to trust bosses and working masses. Today, with automation and outsourcing, the rise of the enforcement state creates the ultimate class divide, the victor class and the victim class. No longer needed as a workforce, humans truly have become worthless eaters whose roles in postmodern Babylon are guinea pigs, cannon fodder, and exemplary crucifixions of any who harbor personal aspirations. Black lives don't matter because nobody's life matters. This appallingly anti-democratic nightmare is possible only because the crippling characterization minority has been drilled into everyone's head. What can you do if you're just a minority, right? It's classic subdivide and conquer. And they mean to run it till the wheels come off. Global spring will come when all minorities stand together and declare, we are the majority. Get more slack. Support community radio.
Thank you so much for your call this morning. And certainly with the first couple of calls on this month's Soapbox, we are discussing some issues that have been in the mainstream media quite heavily over the last month or so. Ferguson, Mississippi, of course, and one caller perhaps theorizing that it's about a greater issue, the Second Amendment. I'm certainly confident that many people out there have an opinion on that. We are here in the studios today with our monthly live and local call-in program. It is the Soapbox, brought to you by your membership dollars and the business support of our WERU underwriters and business members. We're pleased to bring this to you each month, but the program, as usual, is only as good as you make it. We've heard from a very educated couple of callers this morning kicking us off, but perhaps you have an opinion you'd like to get out there as well. Does it agree with what you've heard, or do you have something completely different to say, or do you disagree with what you've heard? All options are taken here at 1-866-625-WERU. You can also call 469-0500. Lots going on at this time of year. We, of course, also want to inform you from time to time about events happening in our community. But first and foremost during this hour are your phone calls, and let us take some of those calls that have been flooding in. Let's take the first one right here. Welcome to the WERU Soapbox. Give us your name and where you're calling from.
Geez, that would be me, Davey from Brooklyn.
Well, hey, Davey.
Hey, I just wanted to put out a hearty congratulations there to the champion of slack for his dissertation on the New Class Society that we're challenged to live in. I remember back in the days of yore in Belfast when there was a place called the Slack Factory. And we like to think that we were producing a little bit of that valuable commodity, slack, because that's really what it's going to take, I think, in order for us to learn how to coexist as dissident minorities, so as to be able to give the wheel the amount of shoulder that it's going to need to make it turn. Collective wheel. Common wheel, I guess it would be, eh? Let's all be members of it, and just be careful of your friends on the picket line putting down somebody in a BMW because they're not on the picket line. Let's just try and give us all a little bit of slack, because that's the only way we're going to be able to realize what our real common cause is, which is against the police state, which is very strong and very well entrenched, and is going to need a maximum shove of the common wheel in order to turn it under, so to speak. So thanks, Yo, for your talk, and I would just offer my hearty assent. Okay, that's it for me right now. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much for your calls. We're glad to take your calls this morning here on the Soapbox. 1-866-625-WERU. or 469-0500. Dennis here in the studio taking the calls and your issues. Oh, Missouri. I did misspeak earlier when I called it Ferguson, Mississippi. It actually is Ferguson, Missouri. Blame that on the wrong postal code abbreviation here that I've written down. But in any case, we are looking for your calls, and we do want to let you know that this is a place where you can certainly share what's going on. Perhaps hearing about the negative headlines makes you think that you want to do something more positive, and perhaps in your local community. There are lots of things going on today all over our broadcast area. There is the Thompson Free Library Holiday Book Sale, which is in Dover Foxcroft, one end of our broadcast range. Today from this morning, starting at 11 until 7 tonight, and then 11 to 5 tomorrow, and on Saturday as well. The event is happening to benefit, of course, the library in Dover Foxcroft. Also, speaking of items in a literary fashion, Maine author Kathy Pelletier is introducing her latest book, written with the pseudonym K.C. McKinnon. It's called The Secret World of Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. That's happening at the Ellsworth Library this afternoon at 2. And the Machias area community is invited to the University of Maine at Machias annual holiday party, 4 to 6 this afternoon in the Reynolds Center. This year's holiday party at UMM is featuring activities for the family, including games and cookie decorating. There will be refreshments, and the UMM Ukulele Club is providing the tunes. They do not charge any admission fee for this holiday party, but anybody who attends is asked to bring a non-perishable item for the local food bank. And we're curious about that this morning on the Soapbox. This is a season of giving, but you are certainly inundated with commercials everywhere you turn. Is your family donating something to somebody in need? Are you volunteering somewhere? We'd love to hear from you. We've got some calls coming in right now. Let's take some of these and put you on the Soapbox. 1-866-625-WERU. Welcome to the Soapbox. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, Dennis. It's Chris calling from Hancock.
Hey, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself this morning?
Pretty good. I suppose I'm probably not alone in feeling risk-averse to going out and joining mass demonstrations. The ways that people are treated by fearful law enforcement is enough to make many of us prefer to stay home. However, there is one exceedingly safe way, an exceedingly successful way that the people of this great nation can show their displeasure, but it is one that many people are averse to, and that is not spending our money. The only way you can deal with a nation such as ours that is so centered around money and consumption is to pinch them where it hurts in their wallets. But nobody wants to forego the new telephone, and nobody wants to forego whatever it is they spend their money on. But really, if people got out there and said, you know what, let's not go out and let's just only buy what we really need. Oh, not what we want, not the new shoes, not the haircut, not the this, not the that. Let's only buy what we need. I think we might get a little more attention. And that's all I have to say today.
Thank you so much, Chris
You're
from
welcome.
Hancock, for speaking up. And I'm not sure if we have another call coming in. I believe memories do tend to be short, but I believe in the days following September 11th, 2001, I believe there was a presidential proclamation that the best thing every American could do would be to get out and spend money. And that certainly is an issue that many people, as Chris, have brought up. Is that really the solution? Is that the secret? What would happen if everybody was not out spending money at the malls this month? Let us know what you're doing for the holidays. We are on the second full day of Hanukkah. Christmas is a week from today. How is it looking for you? Are these months a little difficult financially? Is it harder than ever to pay the bills for your family and the stress of the holiday season creating some negative emotions? Or are you just overjoyed that next week is Christmas morning and you're so excited for that? We'd love to hear from you. What are you doing? How are you spending this holiday season? People have strong opinions on that issue as well, and this is the WERU Soapbox. If you've never called before, jot this number down, 1-866-625-WERU, 469-0500. Many charitable events happening in our area during this season as well. We'll certainly let you know about those as they come into the station. Lots of them happening in the next week, as you can tell, very seasonal. And let's mention some of those to you today. There are so many fundraisers going on from Waterville to Vienna, and most of these you can find on our website, weru.org, on our community calendar. Lots of items. In Winter Harbor, there's a reading of Jacob Marley's Christmas Carol this Saturday at 7. That's at 427 Main Street in Winter Harbor. ScooterGuardsForAll.org for more information. Also, if you have never seen the Carols in the Round concert performed by the Mount View High School Chamber Singers, they are doing it this Sunday at the United Christian Church. That's located at 18 Searsmont Road, 173 in Lincolnville Center. There is a reception following that concert, and all donations from that event benefit the Mount View Chamber Singers. Other things you might want to know about that are happening in our area: there's an annual Christmas bird count this month and a screening of the Counting on Birds documentary. That's today from 6 to 7 tonight at the Fields Pond Audubon Center in Holden. Dennis Howard and John Greenman here, bringing you WERU's monthly live and local call-in program, The Soapbox, a show that you determine the content of. There is no pre-arranged plan. We are here accepting your calls and allowing you to turn your phone into a microphone. John, I think I speak for both of us when I say that.
It would be great to hear more voices come on board. You know, it occurred to me with living in Orland, I'm very close to Bucksport, and it's very interesting the reaction of people from the Bucksport area on the closing of the mill of the potential. Well, it is closed now as of yesterday. People walked out. A call coming in.
Let's take that call. I know that I saw the largest ever parking lot of cars by a local drinking establishment in Bucksport as I drove home yesterday. And I'm curious how it feels to be a local in Bucksport right now with the closing of an employer that has been here for 70 years. You're up next on the Soapbox, 1-866-625-WERU. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Martha calling from Rockland.
Hey, Martha.
Good morning. I'm just calling to say that apropos of your question about what we're doing for the holidays, my family always gives money to charity. We're kind of dialing down the gifts. And this year we're giving money to Partners in Health and Doctors Without Borders to support their important work in West Africa.
How many children do you have in your family?
Oh, we have one, but that's plenty.
And how was that when you revealed that you'd be dialing back on the gifts, but instead donating money to charitable causes?
When we say dialing back, we mean just for the grown-ups.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot of presents.
Well, we certainly appreciate that idea. And you both feel better about doing that?
Yeah, there's really nothing that we need.
Well, we certainly appreciate hearing that. Thank you. That's what we were looking for this morning, wondering what our listeners are doing during this holiday season. Thank you so much for calling, Martha.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
And to you.
1-866-625-WERU or 469-0500. Hearing from a family this morning in the Rockland area, donating money to a couple worthy causes. Is that something you do, or are you prepared to spend lots of money on gifts for everybody you know? I'm sure there are many, many points of view on this, and we know just from the people we know and our coworkers, friends, family members, everybody handles this major holiday in a totally different way, and we'd love to hear some of the more unique ways people are dealing with this holiday season. And as John mentioned before we went into that phone call, yesterday did mark the end of the Verso Mills business operation in Bucksport, and that sort of event spills over into not just the local communities, but areas as much as 75 miles away, which is where some of those workers drove from every day to work at Verso. We'd like to know what you think about that. If you've got a personal issue with what happened, or if you know somebody who's experienced a job loss at this time of year, or if you're just somebody who's always thought that mill would be there in Bucksport, give us a call, 1-866-625-WERU or 469-0500 locally. And, of course, at this time of year, there are many other things that we want you to know about, including in the recent community calendar items. The Camden Opera House is having a free event. This is happening tomorrow, called Winter Revels, with song, dance, poetry, hijinks, clowns, with performances by the Ashwood Waldorf students. That is tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 5 in Camden at their Opera House. Also, the Good Neighbor Supper features family-style homemade supper with dessert. They do that at the First Baptist Church of Blue Hill on Pleasant Street from 5 to 6 on the third Friday of each month. Folks are invited to share a free hot meal and conversation with old and new friends. That happens in Blue Hill, a free community meal. Other things on our calendar that perhaps you haven't heard about yet. As you know, each time Christmas rolls around, countless Christmas Carol celebrations. We'll mention some of those, but I believe, John, we have somebody on the line. If you could give us your name and where you're calling from. 1-866-625-WERU. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello?
Hello. Welcome to the Soapbox.
Yeah. I just wanted to add some more thoughts as I'm driving around here listening and thinking about the mill closing. I'm not directly involved in it. I'm just a very interested citizen and worried a lot for Bucksport. I remember early on in this situation, there was a wonderful interview on the radio on the main things slot. Andrea did it, I think, about where she was talking with the head of the union in Bucksport, and he was saying that they had not given up consideration of being able to buy the mill, the workers being able to buy the mill and start it back themselves. I would imagine that Verso, in their great wisdom, declined to do such a thing and would sooner sell it to be scrapped rather than endure the competition of people that actually knew how to run the equipment. But I wonder, just theoretically, whether there's anything preventing the scrap metal company from selling it back to the union or to the workers. I don't know. It's just, it would seem that once the sale has gone through a certain number of progressions, that Verso would lose control a little bit over who it was sold to next. And I wonder whether that could possibly be a solution, because here's, the workforce got, a month or two probably of paid wages from the old company. They could probably work for little or nothing for a little while in a new company and give it a chance to get up and off the ground. There's got to be some solution. Like they say, if the outcome looks so bleak, it's because it's not the end yet. And I'm really interested in not giving up on the evolution of this story of the growth of the mill in Bucksport towards something which can be sustaining and ecologically feasible and provide a useful product both. So that's just another 3 cents. And thanks for the pedestal, and I'll hang up now and listen some more.
Thank you, Davey. 1-866-625-WERU. Locally, of course, 469-0500. This is the Soapbox. If you are just joining us, it is a monthly live and local call-in program. There is no host as such offering a point of view or expertise. I'm merely a facilitator. There are no guests in the studio who are learned experts on these matters. No, it is up to you. What you've read, your history, your feelings, what you want to share with your fellow WERU listeners. Turn your phone into a microphone. We'd love to hear from you this morning. Certainly the Verso Mill situation in Bucksport, one of the larger issues. Somebody mentioned to me just last night that my small town of Belfast 25 years ago lost its shoe factories, chicken factories about 5 years before that, but many today would display Belfast as a successful small town, which is actually a city. Could that happen to Bucksport? There are people who think it could. There are people who think it will not. And it certainly would be a transition process. What do you think on that? 1-866-625-WERU 469-0500. Tomorrow, the Grand in Ellsworth is presenting Charles Dickens' holiday story in an interactive radio show style adaptation, similar to what we're doing today, but with the Christmas Carol. That's tomorrow night at 7 at the Grand in Ellsworth. They do it on Saturday as well at 2, and then Sunday at 2 as well for those matinee performances. Once again, Charles Dickens' Christmas classic done in a radio show style atmosphere at the Grand in Ellsworth this weekend. Is there something going on you'd like to share with our listeners? We try to list every event that we're aware of here on the radio station, but of course, there are always items happening that we don't know about. If you'd like to share that with people listening this morning, think that would be a great way to get people to your event, give us a call. 469-0500, 1-866-625-WERU. The Friends of the Blue Hill Public Library are holding 2 book sales this month, and the second is this Saturday from 10 to 2, featuring many new and like-new books for gift-giving to children and adults, an affordable way to acquire some holiday gifts. Books on Christmas and the holidays, cookbooks, fiction, poetry, nature, history, biography, art, and how-to books. That's happening at the Blue Hill Library this Saturday.
You know, Dennis, I think we ought to add something to that, because I heard...
What did you hear?
Well, I heard that somebody from South Blue Hill is going to be at the library on Saturday afternoon.
And
somebody
that's
who
not in here. Somebody who sings. Could that be perhaps somebody who used to be in a folk trio?
Yeah, I think so.
So I would guess Noel Paul Stuckey.
I guess you may be right. Now, listen, maybe we can get some exact times on that, because if somebody knows the exact time when Noel's going to be showing up, that would be fantastic.
And we don't have that already, John. That is a very good point. If somebody's aware of what time Noel Paul Stuckey will be at the Blue Hill Public Library this Saturday performing, we're guessing sometime between 10 and 2. But if you do have an exact time, that would be great to let our listeners know. 469-0500. 1-866-625-WERU. You know, John, many times we hear from people at WERU complaining that their event is coming up and they don't know how to get people there. How do they get more people interested in it? They've put up posters and they've lodged the social networking posts, but perhaps there's something more they can do. Perhaps they could call the Soapbox. This is a live and local call-in program. People listening while they work, people listening in their home studios, and certainly people listening as they drive around. Perhaps a captive audience for your upcoming event, fundraiser. Perhaps you're presenting a concert. Anything you've got to share, as long as you do it in a positive way, you're allowed to say it right here on the Soapbox. Let's give those phone numbers for people that may not be regular listeners to this or other public affairs programs. And feel free to write this down. 1-866-625-WERU, 469-0500. We do have some calls coming in right now. You're up on the Soapbox. Give us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Peter in Brooks.
Hey, Peter.
Hi. I'm calling to connect the dots a little bit. Families use money for their needs. Capitalism uses money to take more than is needed, which deprives families of their needs, pulling the rug out from under natural abundance. And that depriving of families is a source of all the dehumanization that results in militarism, violence, racism, sexism, etc. When all the hotels are owned on Boardwalk, it's game over in monopoly. And so think about that next time you are sucked into Walmart and fleeced. It took us a while to get to this point, and it may take a while to correct it, but it better not, because we have messed our bed, and it's warming and it's storming. And so the solution was a couple of our callers touched on. One is building a critical mass in a spending fast, and the other one is launching the gift economy. And so, like TM has demonstrated that in their experiments, meditating in a city by a small percentage of people, even like 7% of the people, shows a market decrease in overall violence in that city. And so that 100 monkey critical mass, that works, and we better hope it works, because, if we stop spending and launch the gift economy, taking care of each other, it might just mushroom and cause all the corporations to vaporize. So that's my wish for Christmas and the holidays. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Peter.
All right. Bye.
Bye. 1-866-625-WERU, 469-0500. Peter connecting the dots, and that's sometimes important during the soapbox, where one call can take us 180 degrees in a different direction. Sometimes it takes a listener's perspective to get us all back together. We've got another caller, 1-866-625-WERU. You're up on the soapbox. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Mark calling from Surrey.
Hey, Mark.
Just to follow up with that last caller, there's another way and a movement that's already started around the country, and that is focus on a living wage rather than a minimum wage. And a living wage should be, $15, $17 an hour. And there are communities in America that have legislated a living wage. And too bad if the corporations want to do business there, that's what they pay. The Walton family is up to $153 billion, and their employees, some of them are using $6 billion in welfare services. So, we can start small and legislate, and the movement is starting. And once there's economic justice, and we have enough food and enough warmth and enough transportation for families to have enough time to take care of their children, the children aren't going to grow up angry and aren't going to pick up guns. And those children growing up would be wonderful peace officers in our towns. I know some of them, and they're terrific public servants. But the second thing is, I'd like to see. There's no reason why the police shouldn't be out marching with the protesters. What's wrong with civil rights and peace and justice? They should be on the front lines with the people. Why not? Another thing, the Second Amendment people. There's no reason why they shouldn't be for peace also. Just because they want to own a gun, they can stand for peace. Let's all get together and stand for peace. It's the season. Peace on earth, goodwill to all people. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Another call connecting some of the threads that we've had on this morning's soapbox and ending on a positive holiday note. And perhaps that's what we need to hear during this season, that there is a way to bring all these issues together, these various issues that divide, and perhaps unite everybody in a common direction. What do you feel about that? 1-866-625-WERU 469-0500, the live and local monthly soapbox program, brought to you by your demand at WERU, a monthly call-in program at this time of the day. There is a winter ball fundraiser, and sort of referencing what a previous caller had mentioned, this event is raising money for a communication device for a local teenager at the Next Generation Theater in Brewer. It's from 5 to 9 this Saturday. 4 to 6 is focused on kids. After 6, they will have dancing for adults. All families are welcome. They do not require fancy dress. Once again, the Winter Ball fundraiser in Brewer. 469-0500, 1-866-625-WERU. We've got about 20 minutes or so left on this soapbox. And as you know, during these call-in shows, they get busier near the end, and that's happening now. Please give us your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, this is Olenka from Brooklyn.
Yes, Olenka.
And there are a couple things I'd like to address that previous callers brought up. And I agree with all of them in general, talking about how we spend our money. And this is the shopping season, as we know. I grew up with business, the word business being a dirty word in our household. But I've come to realize that there's business and then there's business. And certainly supporting the corporations is a bad idea. But we have in this area so many small businesses, which are the backbone of our community. And I really do my best when I'm buying anything to buy from our local entrepreneurs, whether it's food or hard items, crafts. We have local appliance stores. We have local crafts people and artists selling. And if we support them, I don't feel it's detrimental. And another thing I was thinking about is the irony that we have so much waterfront in this state, and waterfront property is extremely valuable and expensive, and yet a place like Bucksport or Belfast formerly, which are on beautiful sites, gorgeous seascapes, and here these towns did and are going downhill. I mean, I think Bucksport is exquisitely beautiful. Its setting, and maybe that can be the beginning of change. And the other thing, I consider a living wage today $20 an hour, not 15 or 17. And $20 an hour isn't that much. Figure it over a 40 hours a week. Okay, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for your call.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Goodbye, Alenka. 1-866-625-WERU. You're on the Soapbox. Give us your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hi, this is Bob from Vineyard, Maine.
Yeah, hey, Bob.
I've listening to people talking about spending money and how we spend our money. That, of course, buying local is a great idea, but there's an outfit in Surrey, Maine, that called Sustainable Harvest that works all over Central America, helping build sustainable lifestyles for the campesinos. And I've worked with them. I've been to Honduras 9 times and worked with Sustainable Harvest several times. They're a great outfit. They hire university-trained local people from the countries that they're working in, and they create a 5-year plan for whatever level the person's at, and as long as they have access to some land. And it's a great program, and we're giving gifts to members of our family that are, $50 and $75 gifts to Sustainable Harvest, and you can find them pretty easily just by Googling Sustainable Harvest. It's a great program. Florence Reed won the Sergeant Shriver Award for the former Peace Corps volunteer making the greatest impact in the world. That's quite a competition. And she formed Sustainable Harvest several years ago, and it's going well, and it's a great program. I wish people would consider it on their Christmas gift list. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 1-866-625-WERU.org. You're next on the Soapbox. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi there, everyone. My name is Dylan Howard. I'm calling from Caterpillar Hill in Sedgwick, and I just want to let everyone know that we made a milestone. I'm representing the Caterpillar Hill Initiative. We've secured the top 30 acres on top of Caterpillar Hill, right next to the Blue Hill Heritage Trust property, and basically we're preserving this for the community and the community ownership of this place. It is a very beautiful scenic area, as everyone knows it well. And I just want to let everyone know that we want some inclusion with the community to see kind of what people want to see happen with this beautiful place, in the conservation and also to uplift the current human footprint that's already there and maybe hopefully turn into a cultural center that puts forth a sustainable model for conservation, education, and basically the use of a historical cultural heritage site and make it a landmark to maybe stabilize a local economy and just make it really a hub for people to connect and build community from there. And I'm very passionate about it. I've been helping this group take it over and really put it into the use of the community, and we'd love some engagement over these next 3 months of kind of really activating the site for what this community needs and really inspire others from all over the world that come here and visit this location that want to live here. So I really would love to have some involvement and also some support to keep it in the community's possession over the foreseeable future. It's a very beautiful place. You can visit. You can visit our website to see kind of what we're looking to do with our team. It's CaterpillarHillInitiative.org. And I'm going to just put it out there. You can give me a call myself, 207-669-5506. I would really love to engage everyone on this. I think it's really a worthy project. It's something to look into to see what maybe we can do for the summer and maybe host some events. I think we're all thinking about preserving our historic areas, the Bucksport and Belfast, and helping this whole area thrive together. We're talking about gift economies. We're talking about a lot of different, progressive ideas that we can really kind of put to a really good wavelength and kind of vocalize it and really connect it with a lot of other people that might not know about these certain things. So anyway, thank you so much for having me on here and just to see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan, so much. CaterpillarHillInitiative.org, 669-5506. The contact information Dylan provided this morning about Caterpillar Hill in Sedgwick. 1-866-625-WERU, 469-0500. Lots of calls this morning talking about a wide variety of topics, but a large number of them stringing everything together logically. And I think we've been hearing that from some of the recent callers. Somebody urging listeners to make gifts to a nonprofit organization like Sustainable Harvest International, or perhaps shopping locally at locally owned stores instead of at corporate entities. Great ideas, and we certainly would love to hear what you think about that. If you have some other holiday plans, 1-866-625-WERU. You are on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, this is Yo in Tremont.
Hey, Yo.
I love the WERU Community Soapbox, not just as a bully pulpit, but because I like hearing what my friends and neighbors are thinking. It's so easy to call. Anyone can do it. It's fun, and it's freedom. Thanks, Dennis, for running a great soapbox, and thank you to everyone for supporting community radio.
Thank you so much, Yo. Wish I recorded that one. We could play that over and over, John. 1-866-625-WERU, 469-0500. I believe you are now on the air. What's your name, and where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, it's Frank from Lemoyne.
Well, hello, Frank.
How are you?
I'm well.
Everybody's talking about giving, which is a great idea, and I think outside of just giving to nonprofits around the world, call your local school or town office and ask for you don't need to know their names, but every town has families that are probably hurting here at Christmas time for kids, gifts for their kids, which Christmas, I know it shouldn't necessarily be about giving gifts, but it's for little kids anyways. And, donating some toys or a gift card, let's say not to Walmart, but let's say Rennie's, so that they could get clothes. Or I'm not advertising for Rennie's, but just a local store. Clothes, they could get food or a blender or something. Just keep it, that's a nice local thing. You call your school and don't worry, they'll know a family that's not doing that so hot. And it's just, you want to keep it local. You could get much more local in your little local schools. All right, everybody have a nice holiday vacation.
Thank you so much, Frank, for that message, urging us to support local nonprofit organizations and charities. 469-0500. You are on the air. Could you give us your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, hey, Dennis, Johnny.
Well, hey, John.
How you doing?
Good.
Couple little things I was thinking about. I come from a police family and have had numerous discussions. And my nephew, who was a retired Jersey State Police, he had said that we're trained, one to the head, two to the body. And he said, and when you're in the situations, your training has got to kick in. We might be at a point where training needs to be changed. I had a question with what happened in Ferguson. Why no one ever said what happened to a stun gun during that situation. there is training that's needed all across the board when it comes to police. There's a lot of great police. There are a lot of terrible police, and the persons that can't stand the terrible police the most are the good cops. And there is a thing called the blue wall or the blue veil, which cops don't break rank. You haven't heard of a Serpico in decades. So there need to be changes on that, but there's a lot of great cops out there. That's one subject. Next, we're coming up to December 25th. It's a tough day for dogs with all the people, the noise, the kids, food. Someone slipping a little turkey skin to the dog, another one doing it. How much can their stomachs take before they end up on the floor? So a special need day for dogs. And finally, if this is a season for a better energy, and whether you're celebrating the SON or the SUN or any other, it's a good time. And I just was thinking about gratitude, and I have this little thing that says gratitude is awareness that as things come to you, they are exactly what you need, be it people, circumstances, or challenges. Worry is the opposite of gratitude. It is the failure to understand that you have been and will continue to be provided for each day. Worry is an action. Gratitude is an action. Both are an option. By choosing gratitude, you drive out the space and time for worry. It isn't hard to do. Gratitude is simply noticing the good stuff in your life. What you pay attention to or notice tends to expand and grow. Each day brings a multitude of opportunities to feel gratitude and appreciation. When you neglect the action of appreciation, you limit your potential for joy and contentment in the present moment. Worry does not prevent bad things from happening. It only prevents you from accessing joy in that moment. The present moment is the only place where joy and contentment can be. Season's greetings, everybody.
Thank you, Johnny. Little less than 10 minutes left for this month's Soapbox. 1-866-625-WERU. You're on the Soapbox. Give us your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, this is Jean Gale from Belfast.
Hey, Jean.
And since the last caller mentioned the situation in Ferguson and so forth, I wanted to bring up my idea on that. I don't know anything about police training or technology, but it would seem to me that we could come up with some way to immobilize, especially unarmed people who are causing trouble, other than shooting and killing them. Something more humane than a taser, and something a little bit less terrible than stun bombs and tear gas. What do they do with wild animals? Just an idea, something a little more advanced than the 19th century shooting people. That's all.
Thank you so much, Jean, for those comments. 1-866-625-WERU 469-0500. A couple of callers mentioning police tactics and how that relates to what recently happened in Ferguson, Missouri. That started off the show. Perhaps that's where these last calls will take the program as the Soapbox nears its end for this month. Probably about 5 minutes left for you to get your calls in, 5 or 6 minutes left. 1-866-625-WERU 469-0500. There is a holiday costume parade that we did want to mention before today's program ends. It happens this Saturday in Belfast. Everybody meets at the town landing near the weather vane. Mrs. Claus is leading the Harbor Walk to the east end of Armistice Footbridge, where there will be cookies and hot cocoa. They encourage participants to dress festively with accessories such as reindeer antlers, Santa hats, jingle bells, winter furs, and twinkling lights. You can get all the information on that holiday costume parade at ourtownbelfast.org. We want to thank everybody who has called thus far on this month's Soapbox, the last Soapbox of 2014. It's certainly been a great year, lots of issues during these last 12 Soapbox episodes. We've been all over the map. We've been through Election Day, and we have made it here to the end of the year during the holiday season for almost everybody. And we hope that WERU has served you well this year. With all the talk before about supporting local nonprofit organizations, I would be remiss if I did not mention that WERU is nonprofit and non-commercial. And if you are wondering about a worthy organization to give your money to during this season, I certainly think that we should be included on that list. John?
Well, I was just going to add, because it is the time of giving for others, and you could give in someone else's name. I mean, what a great gift. If you really appreciate WERU, not only will you be giving to WERU in somebody's name, but you'll also be telling them about WERU and spreading the word.
And this is not in any way to disparage the hundreds of other worthy nonprofit organizations in our local community or around the country. But we do want to take this time just to say this kind of radio program could not happen. Callers would not have a chance to share their points of view, and local volunteers would not have the privilege of coming into a studio and having from 1 to 4 hours to play the music they want to share with you. None of that would happen without WERU in this area. And so if you are sitting there with a checkbook near the end of this year, or with a credit or debit card in hand, or perhaps just a bundle of bills, we would love to hear from you. Become a member, WERU.org. 1-866-625-WERU. 3 minutes left as far as we can tell here on this month's Soapbox. You might have the honor of being the last Soapbox caller in 2014 if you call now. If you have an event to publicize, if you have feelings about your family and how you're celebrating the next week with your relatives, perhaps you have thoughts on Ferguson, the Second Amendment, Walmart, Verso, Sustainable Harvest, Caterpillar Hill. We've talked about all these things this morning here on the Soapbox, and I'm sure that someone out there has a final opinion, somebody to wrap up 2014 and WERU listeners' comments. As a WERU volunteer and paid staff member, I do want to thank everybody for a great year. It has been a year of festivities, hard work, excellent programming by dedicated volunteers, and what amazing support from our listeners, including last Saturday's Celebration Saturday, John.
I was going to say that really was something to be listening to, and we've had a lot of response from people who said that was a lot of fun, and it showed by the numbers of new members that jumped on board. It was really a phenomenon and we've been thinking and talking behind the scenes about, could we do that again? Well, we don't want to do it too often, but, every now and then it might be kind of nice to sort of energize folks out there and sort of concentrate and focus on one particular day. It really worked well. So, maybe sometime next year, later,
Bring that one around again.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So,
and it was great to see the co-workers of myself here at Community Radio who do work hard, and I don't want to necessarily just give ourselves a big pat on the back, but I also, before this program closes for 2014, in this final minute of the Soapbox, want to thank the other 6 hardworking full-time employees at this radio station. The volunteers get mentioned a lot, and the listeners, but these people give of their time as well. They work way more hours than they're supposed to, and they're here nights, mornings, weekends, all kinds of weather to bring you the radio station that you're listening to right now. Thanks to them as well. I hope everybody has a very merry holiday season, no matter what you were celebrating. And thanks for all your calls this morning. We'll be back next year, 2015, the Soapbox, 3rd Thursday of every month. John Greenman, thank you so much for engineering. Up next, 3 hours of eclectic music, perhaps in an ambient vein, brought to you by the skilled Mark Dyer on WERU.
The WERU Soapbox is made possible in part by U.S. Bells in Prospect Harbor, offering cast bronze wind bells, doorbells, and custom hardware, supporting free and open discussion of the issues that affect our community. 963-7184 or usbells.com.